on? Okay, there we go. Good morning, everyone, to this beautiful Sunday in Lent. The first hymn that we're going to do this morning is definitely an old standard. The Old Rugged Cross was written in 1913, and though it's not in our current hymnal, I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. One of the reasons that I came up with the idea of doing these hymn sings was remembering how much my grandmothers enjoyed having me play hymns for them, and this was definitely one that they requested often. I'm from Michigan, and outside Reed City, Michigan, there's a large, rough-hewn cross that can be seen from the highway. It stands outside the home of its composer, George Bernard, which is now the Old Rugged Cross Museum. The song was named America's favorite gospel hymn in multiple surveys between the years 1925 and 1960. Bernard was a preacher, first for the Salvation Army, later for the Methodist Episcopal Church. He wrote this hymn in a moment of divine inspiration after much study and prayer, and this is a quote from him. "I saw the Christ of the cross as if I were seeing John 3:16 leave the printed page, take form, and act out the meaning of redemption. The more I contemplated these truths, the more convinced I became that the cross was far more than just a religious symbol, but rather the very heart of the gospel." On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. Oh, that old rugged cross, so despised by the world, has a wondrous attraction for me. For the dear Lamb of God left his glory above to bear it to dark Calvary. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. In that old rugged cross, stained with blood so divine, a wondrous beauty I see. For 'twas on that old cross Jesus suffered and died to pardon and sanctify me. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. To the old rugged cross I will ever be true, its shame and reproach gladly bear. Then he'll call me someday to my home far away, where his glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross knees at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. All right. That brings us to our next hymn. Just a second here. Again, I have some quotes, so I want to make sure I'm saying the right thing. All right. Beneath the Cross of Jesus was the words of this hymn were written by Elizabeth Clephane. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. A Scottish poet. She was nicknamed Sunshine because she always seemed to have a cheery disposition in spite of her very difficult life. Her parents died when she was young, and she was often ill herself. Clephane wrote these words in 1868, a year before she died at age 39. In her own weary land, Jesus provided home and rest. Sunbeam, as she was called, learned to ask for no other sunshine than the sunshine of his face, words from her hymn. Frederick Maker composed the tune for this hymn in 1881 using her text. He was a British organist and choir master who served Methodist and Congregational churches in Bristol, England. He composed many hymn tunes and choral anthems. Beneath the Cross of Jesus. Jesus, I fain would take my stand. The shadow of a mighty rock within a weary land, a home within the wilderness, a rest upon the way from the burning of the noontide heat and the burden of the day. Upon the cross of Jesus, mine eye at times can see the very dying form of one who suffered there for me. And from my stricken heart with tears to wonders I confess, the wonders of redeeming love and my own unworthiness. I take across thy shadow for my abiding place. I ask no other sunshine than the sunshine of his face. Content to let the world go by, to know no gain or loss. My sinful self, my only shame, my glory, all the cross. Another great old hymn. Okay, I'm going to end today's hymn sing with a more contemporary hymn, the Hymn of Promise, also called, or the first line of it, in the bulb there is a flower. And I'm doing this because I think it fits both with Lent and Easter and also with its being our first Sunday in spring. Natalie Sleeth composed both the words and the tune. She was an American composer who began studying piano at the early age of 4. She went on with her music study, eventually studying music theory at Wesley College. She married Reverend Dr. Ronald Sleeth, a professor of homiletics. I had to look that up. homiletics, I'm not sure. Anyway, it says it's the art of preaching or writing sermons. Hymn of Promise was first conceived as an anthem in 1985. It was performed at the Pasadena Community Church in St. Petersburg, Florida, during a festival concert of her music. She is known as a composer of anthems, especially for children. And there's also a note in our hymnal. It says, the writing of this hymn was spurred by a line from the poet T.S. Eliot, "In the end is my beginning." Shortly after this piece was completed, the author, their composer's husband, was diagnosed with what proved to be a terminal malignancy, and the original anthem version of this hymn was sung at his funeral. In the bulb, there is a flower. Hymn of Promise. In the bulb there is a flower, in the seed an apple tree, in cocoons a hidden promise, butterflies will soon be free. In the cold and snow of winter, there's a spring that waits to be unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. There's a song in every silence, seeking word and melody. There's a dawn in every darkness, bringing hope to you and me. From the past will come the future, what it holds a mystery, unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. In our end is our beginning, in our time infinity. In our doubt there is believing, in our life eternity. In our death a resurrection, at the last a victory, unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. I just think that's a lovely hymn, and I love the words in it as well. Well, at this time of Lent and of early springtime, I hope we all remember that there is hope, and we don't know exactly how life will unfold until its season, but God alone can see. And I hope you feel hope and promise during this season. Have a blessed week. Thanks for joining me.